So now we're going to start our presentation for today. I would like to first of all introduce our presenter, Wojciech Stancik. Wojciech is a specialist of, as I said before, the Polish National Energy Conservation Agency. Wojciech is part of the THERMOS consortium, KAPE. He's a THERMOS specialist and he's a certified trainer. And his main activities in THERMOS is, of course, the design and management of Warsaw case study with THERMOS. He also provides technical support to build the Berlin case study with THERMOS. Also supports in different planning processes and scenarios with the thermos tool, and he's a technical advisor of KAPE on sustainable energy, urban infrastructure, and other pollution management project with thermos. Wojciech, thank you very much for being here and for sharing us the case of Warsaw.
Okay, thank you, Daniela, for the kind introduction. As Daniela mentioned, I will present you to the thermos use case of Warsaw. So without further ado, this is the city of Warsaw, the map for the district heating network and for the city itself. As you can see, it's a very large district heating network, actually the biggest in the European Union. So it covers around 80% of the needs of heating needs of the inhabitants. So with around 2 million people living in Warsaw, it's a very large demand, and it is covered by 2 heating sources mainly, which are working on the cogeneration-based plants. They use coal, but there are plans to change it in the future. So how do we use it in such an environment, the thermos tool? Well, there are a few difficulties that we encountered at the very beginning, because the district heating network in Warsaw is private, so it's not owned by the city, but there's still a possibility to use the thermos tool just to assess whether the plans for the development of it are viable, or to propose some options to the district heating network operators and to find the common ground with them. The other difficulty is that there are a lot of in the area there are a lot of other sources or systems that need to be included or could be included. So for the sake of building a new, more sustainable network, it is a good tool to see which solutions are viable and to what extent. The other difficulty that we encounter is that the city is still developing, so there are areas with many new buildings coming on, or there are still areas where this district heating network is not connected. So we try to extend or analyze whether it's possible. So the thermos tool is just perfect for that. So which area did we choose to see to use the thermos tool? It's the northern, which includes the sewage treatment plant, which has its own CHP plant built in. So it uses sewage to produce heat and electricity. The heat is used for their own purposes, but the electricity is also exported to the network. So our idea was to analyze whether we can use some excess heat as well to be used in the buildings nearby or supplied to the network. This area is also good to analyze because it's just on the edge of the district heating network. So there are some buildings already connected, but there's a lot of buildings that are not connected at this moment. So we wanted to analyze, is it better to build some new district heating network, to extend the district heating network, or to use the current solutions that are there. Other also interesting areas in this particular area is that there are a lot of buildings that are being built at the moment. So we want to know whether those new buildings should be connected to the district heating network or not, and whether you would need to extend the district heating network just for that purpose. So just to give you a few examples of what use case problems did we encounter and how we solved them. So there are three typical problems that you might encounter when preparing your own solutions. One concerns the preparation of the GIS file. The other is the modeling of the existing network. So this is the case that we are doing, so modeling the existing network. And the other as a problem, the third problem is the currency in which the thermostat operates. So as you can see, the picture presents the typical view of the thermostat. It's a one building, and when you upload the GIS file, it might be a little bit weird. So it might contain a few parts that are actually connected to one building, but for some reason, when you uploaded the GIS file, it might appear like a few different buildings in one place. So what you can do to eliminate this problem, because of course this is one building, so it should be supplied by one connection, not a few. And when the thermos-tool estimates the demand, it will estimate the demand for each part of this, which is not perfect. So what you can do is to go back to your GIS file and to replace this combined difficult to analyze structure into just one polygon. You can replace it with just if you don't know how to combine it, you can replace it with another polygon. Or the other solution is just to stay in your tool, try to sum up the demands of each part and apply it to just one of those polygons. And then this one polygon will be at the, let's say, theoretical building that covers the whole demand of this area. And you can use it as just to simplify the calculations for the tool and for yourself. One thing what we can do also in Warsaw, and what we are doing, is to compare the GIS file with the OpenStreetMap view, which you can also do if it's available for you. So we can check whether the multi-polygon is the same in OpenStreetMap and in the GIS that you uploaded, and compare the values of the estimations and so on. The other problem that you might see is that when you want to add a building that is not existing at the moment, but you want to analyze it, whether it's viable to connect it, or whether you could be able to connect it in the future and for what costs. Well, to do this, if you upload the GIS file of the existing buildings, of course, it won't be there, and you won't know, you won't be able to connect it to the network that you are planning to build with Thermos. So what you can do is to put a shape in the GIS file that represents this kind of buildings, this kind of new structures that you want to include in the future. And once you upload it, you have to remember that it doesn't need to be the exact shape of the building, but you can remember which one was it, and then apply your own parameters or your own estimations of the demand and the capacity that you need to provide to these buildings. It is also very advised to do so if you do the new buildings, because probably the demand for the new building will be much different than the estimations for the existing ones. So you don't have to worry about the shape, you don't have to worry about the estimation that the tool provides, because most probably you would want to do it yourself either way. The third area when you can model, how to model the existing network. Well, for Warsaw, to model the whole network that covers the city, it will be very difficult and time consuming. So what we want to do is to make, let's say, a theoretical case for just the end of the network. So what we did is to set the roads and the let's say the connection where then the is to required by the solution, and to apply the costs equal to 0. So when you do this, it will basically say to the tool that there is a pipeline and it costed 0 to make, so it's existing, and you can use it as the, let's say, the last pipeline that is available in the area. And once you do this, you have to also give a theoretical source of heat, because we didn't model the whole network, just let's say a simplification of it. So we create any building that is connected to this red area that we model as an existing network, apply some basic parameters. So the maximum capacity, probably for us it was referring to the capacity that was available in the pipeline. So the pipeline had already some limits, and we applied the maximum capacity to the source that was actually the maximum capacity of the pipeline. We didn't assign any costs regarding the investment, because the sources are already existing and they can supply heat to more consumers than at the moment. So we didn't have to apply any fixed costs, but we had to apply a supply cost, because the heat sources always have some cost, and when you produce heat, there's always some supply cost. To do it, and maybe to do it better if it's very far away from the exact heating sources, it's good to also consider the losses, because the value of the supply costs in the plant itself is much different than the value that is very far away from the plant. And when you want to extend the network, you actually try to consider those losses. But if you don't, it also doesn't matter that much in some cases, because the losses might be not that actually influential on the existing network. So other issue that we faced was the currency, because in Poland we use zlotys, not euros or pounds. So Thermos, of course, supports us as well, and it's not a big problem for us. Just we need to remember that the currency that is in Thermos tool is a general currency, so it's universal for everyone. But this also means that if we want to show the solution in zlotys, we have to check all the cost options in the Thermos tool. So we just simply click on the top left corner on the Thermos logo, and the options tab should appear, and then check each option whether the currency that you're using is actually reflected in your own country specific value. Of course, it does not cover all cost related issues, because you also have to remember that once you put some sources on the map or apply some costs to those sources, you have to remember that it also should state the same currency as the other options that you provided through the option tab. Maybe to clear it for the other project members, because you can share your projects with other members, to make it clear, you can state which currency are you using in the description, so that there's no confusion about that. And when you're working together on one project, it's good to state it in the description, so that no one forgets which currency they're using, and then it will limit the questions and the time to describe it to every partner included in the project. So that's what we are doing, and these are a few very simple solutions to the problems that you might encounter. I encourage you to use as well. Thank you. That was all from my side.
Thank you very much, Wojciech. Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation and for sharing with us the case of Warsaw. I think that it's very important at this stage of this training to share this kind of practical examples with our trainers. Please remember, trainers, that you are invited to develop a case study or to follow up a specific exercise with us. So please, if you have any doubts or any questions to Wojciech in the process of how the data was uploaded or how to use the tool in more detail, please let us know. I don't know if there's any questions. I cannot recall any questions in the chat. Yes, I have one. Just 1 minute, please. Yeah, Wojciech, we have one question regarding that how is it possible to compare different scenarios in the tool?
That's very simple. What we do normally is to create a few networks on the same map. That's easy to do because the tool gives you that possibility. So you can create a few networks with different solutions, and then on the summary of each solution, you can just see the values for each different network. It works on the same map, so you'll get the same values. You can input the same parameters to do it, and then simply when you optimize each solution, each of those networks, then you'll see the values for each, and you can compare them, whether which one is the most suitable for you, or simply compare the results that you wanted to achieve.
Okay, thank you very much, Wojciech. We have another question. If we can see some results from the case study in Warsaw, do you think we can have it, or we can share it with our thermos probably later?
I think later on would be much better, because I don't want to work through GoToMeeting in such a short time to do it. But of course, we have a few already analyzed, but we want to make it bigger and to use all the possibilities that Thermos gives us. So I think hopefully in Berlin you will be able to see it in person as we present it to you in more precise way and with more details. But yeah, of course, I hope I will be able to share with you more. But I don't think now is a good way and a good time. But yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Wojciech. Yes, we look forward to the result in Berlin. That was a very good approach. Please remember, trainers, that we are going to have the results not only from Warsaw, but from other cities of Thermos, with the results in Berlin. Wojciech, we have another question specifically from Mary Yeomoning, which says that if you add a new building, do you have to re-import the GIS data, then reset all the parameters for the roads, for instance?
If you are to upload a new map, because that's how you include a new building, then yes, you will have to reinstall the parameters for this particular map, because the project consists of may consist of different maps and of different and each map can consist of different networks. So if you upload a new map, you will have to upload the parameters as well.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's clarified. Mary, if you have any other question, please put it in the post. Wojciech, we have another question from Federico Bava, mentioning that if it is possible to edit the number of degree days after the project has been set up, in case it is possible, where this option can be found in Thermos.
Actually, I'm not sure. I always input it first, and when I input the map, so I didn't encounter that problem. I think it could be easily done through Options tab, but I'm not sure if it's available at the moment. Maybe it's one of the questions or issues that we can raise with the developers of the tool. But yeah. I don't think it is possible now, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that this question on the degree days, the heating degree days was raised also. So we are going to include this question, this clarification in the frequently asked questions document. So we will be clear that this is clarified for all trainers. Okay. We have another question from Sebastian Reiche, mentioning which GIS program was used in the case study.
QGIS. I'm not sure if I name it correctly. It's just basically you need to have the file in the right type. So you can use any of the GIS tools that you're using. Just at the end, I think it's SHP, the most common one, the shape file that you need to upload. So you can use a different number of tools for that purpose, and I think most of them will support the standard files.
Okay, thank you very much, Wojciech. I have another question from Karsten Rothballer, which says, how do you recommend to validate the optimized network?
Like, to validate, for example,
like how you validate if the results of the optimized network are how can I say it's correct or is very linked to the reality?
Well, we do a lot of similar projects, so for us it's working with the experience that we have. The Warsaw network is very large, so it is not the first time there is such a case to extend it or to analyze it. So we usually use our own knowledge that we have, but of course, for some cities it will be something new. So it might be difficult to see whether this case is valid, but I think well, you need to have some confidence in the numbers that you put in, and if you have that confidence, I think it is not necessarily to validate it like many times. Just see someone that is interested in the topic and knows something about heating costs and heating networks, and this kind of, let's say, short validation from someone in the field is enough, I think.
Okay, thank you very much, Wojciech. Wojciech, I have a question. We don't have more questions in our poll of them. Can you give us an approximate time? How much time have you dedicated to do this modeling of the Warsaw case study using thermos? Can you give us some referential dates, hours of work or something? Because one of the key benefits of thermos for us is the how easy the planning processes is taking place with thermos. Can you share with us your experience on this process?
Yes, for us, actually, the most difficult parts were the communication and the gathering of data that were necessary to be used to make our case the most precise and reliable, let's say. But working on just on the tool to make a network, it takes, I would say, about a day or something like this to create one example of network. Just the communication and finding a problem or making up a new solution to this problem is something that you will spend most time on. But just putting in the tool is very simple, and it should take you less than a day to make your network. I did a presentation last Friday, and actually a few participants on that workshop that was like 15 minutes long already did some cases and asked me questions about them. So it's really quick to make the case. I think it gives you more time and allows you to make it more precise and communicate with different partners and develop it even further. And that's what you will work on, not just those technical issues, because this is very simplified with thermos, in my opinion.